Let's say you want to build a car to go compete in any type of racing series, road racing, drag racing, Formula Drift even. You can't just go build the craziest thing you can manage. You gotta follow these things called rules. So what happens when a professional race team ditches that rule book and makes the most insane, most powerful drift car to ever lay down some rubber? Well, this happens. Our buddy and pro drifter Chris Forsberg built a drift car so sick it's not even allowed in Formula D. And today we're not only going to show you this car for the first time, we're going to show you how it came to be and why breaking the rules was necessary for its creation. The Ultimaniac is its name, and producing streaks in your underpants is its game. Let's go. When Chris and his team put this car together, they started with a clean sheet of paper. They wanted to do a few more untraditional things, starting with its chassis. Now it's sporting a full tube chassis, the same type in trophy trucks, monster trucks, and it gives this four-seater Altima the same type of rigidity and stiffness.
And so this was kind of an idea that we've had for years, building a tube chassis car. And so with drift cars getting faster, more powerful, bigger, drivetrains, we're starting to see and feel the twist of the chassis, and this is the best way to strengthen that. So
on a normal car, the chassis is made out of stamped out sheet metal, likely steel or aluminum. And this is cheap and easy to manufacture, but it's not built with the strength to survive a race weekend. Even though the sheet metal and the tube chassis can be the same material, a tube chassis is significantly stronger, and this comes from the physical shape of the metal being used. When the direction of force is controlled for a defined area square tubing, when compared to its round brother, it's stronger. But when the direction of force is unknown, round tubing is what you want. When you crash a race car, for example, the direction of force in a lot of circumstances will be unknown. Round tubing also has one continuous surface with no edges, and because of this, any pressure caused by a force is evenly distributed. This reduces the chance for unwanted bends or breaks. Round tubing, it's got no weak points from corners since there are no corners. So this Ultimaniac has a full tube chassis. There's no structural sheet metal at all. It's all made of tube metal that is laser cut perfectly to size. When Chris got the donor car, he had the entire car 3D scanned. With a 3D laser scanner, the scanner uses software to drive the laser probe above the surface of the car. And while the laser is scanning, camera sensors continuously record the changing distance and shape of the laser line in 3 dimensions as it moves along the surface. The shape of the object being scanned appears as millions of points called a point cloud. And this process is fast. It gathers up to 750,000 points per second with a lot of precision, up to 5/10,000ths of an inch. That 3D scan then allows Chris and his team to 3D design the tube chassis with amazing tolerances.
This whole thing, every plate, every piece, every tube came on a pallet, just a single piece, and they're all labeled. They all have a little laser etching on them, a little part number. And so we had to go through the actual CAD drawing, select each tube, pull them out of the pile, lay them on the ground, and get it all kind of situated, and slowly build this thing from the ground up. This was the first time we've ever done this, and we took the stock chassis to this in 10 days.
A Formula D chassis can have 2,000 hours of work into it. Chris's 370Z, for example, took the team over a month, whereas this new chassis took 10 days to build. When they go to replicate it, it could be even quicker. So quick that they could show up to the race event with 3 spare chassis if they wanted to. This is how current spec racing works for other racing series. Now, none of this would mean anything if the car didn't have a powerful engine for this sideways sedan. Forsberg's team, they dropped in the best Nissan could offer. The Ultimaniac is powered by the VR38 engine straight out of the Nissan GT-R, except it's got a lot more power, 2,000 horsepower to be exact. Tons of billet aluminum parts went into this engine. Billet crank, billet rods, billet main caps, billet girdles, and a dry sump oil system. The engine has been stroked to increase its capacity to 4 liters. Add in 35 pounds of boost and it makes a total of 2,000 horsepower, and that's on the stock block. Did you spec the motor out when you had them build it, or did you guys work together, or what was the process? Was you just like, hey, I want to hit 2,000 horsepower, do what you got to do?
Pretty much, yeah. T1 is, I would say, the leaders in GT-R VR38 engine builds right now. They have the world's fastest GT-R. They constantly win all the classes at like the Texas Mile and everything else. And so it's nice to see a team that has just fully proven high horsepower VR setups, getting into the drift space.
So this team spent tens of thousands of dollars building a car that's stiffer, safer, and more powerful than any Formula D car ever built. But they can't compete with it. Why not? This is the Formula Drift rulebook. It's 40 pages of what you can and can't do to your car in order for it to be legal for competition. Rules about how you can't change the OEM floor pan or the factory strut tower pickups or cut the firewall. Now these rules are in place for two main reasons: safety and cost. And it's pretty much the same with any motorsport.
Yeah, with Formula Drift, we are not allowed to do any of this. And so especially the factory firewall, you're not allowed to remove. You can open up the transmission tunnel a little bit to fit a different transmission, and you can skate the motor back a little bit because of that, but you cannot just cut the vertical plane of the firewall. The big thing is, like I was saying once again, that's so that it keeps people in check on what they do and don't do with their chassis.
The reason most of these kinds of changes can't be made is for safety. So how is Forsberg Ultima safer than an FD car? Well, for one thing, the rulebook is designed to the lowest common denominator. The worst equipped team in any series has to be able to build something that meets safety standards, even if the bigger teams can make something better in a different way. Firewalls, they have to stay intact because of the amount of work it takes to build a custom firewall and prove that it works. It takes skill and money to do it right, and telling teams they can't change the firewall ensures at least a moderate level of safety while also stopping the team from spending more money, and it also evens out the playing field a bit. Now this build clearly is head and shoulders better than any other car. So if it can't compete, why build it?
It's one of those things like, drifting is awesome, right? And it's like talking to people about it's one thing, seeing it in person is another, going for a ride is the top, right? And so I wanted to build something that we could give more rides in because, one person at a time is very difficult. It's hard on the car. It's a lot of, materials and resources used to go for a ride. And so I was like, okay, if we can, triple that, why not? And since, events like Grid Life and these other ride-along events are really taking off, it's like, well, there's more and more effort and energy going towards these party events, as we call them, outside of the competition. So, we of course have our, Nissan 370Z, which is our pro drift race car that we use for Formula Drift. But I was like, well, let's build the best four-seater party car that we possibly can. And so
Forsberg has built this Nissan for you. It's the Ultima of the people. This Ultimaniac is built to give 3 times as many people the experience of riding along with a pro drifter. Because it's not competing, there's no cutting corners for safety, and to haul around 4 people, it's gotta have way more horsepower than a standard Formula Drift car. And the best thing about a drift taxi like this, you'll actually get to experience more G-forces than even the pro drifters do. As a car drifts, the entire chassis pivots around the center point between the front 2 wheels. The front wheels have the grip while the back wheels let go and slide. If you're in the driver's seat, you're only about 18 inches away from that center point. As the car changes direction, you would experience the acceleration of the chassis plus the acceleration of your position relative to the chassis. Acceleration is a vector, meaning it needs a direction and a magnitude. So as you're drifting, you're actually accelerating. But if you're in the back of the car, you're now 6 foot from the pivot point. You're traveling a longer distance every corner in the same amount of time, experiencing more G-forces in the back, which is where I got to ride in this pupperster. We want to thank Chris Forsberg and his team for letting us follow this build through its inception. Obviously, Chris gave me a spin in this Ultimaniac and it was wild. So thanks for allowing me to be a part of this.
I mean, obviously this has been like the most extensive build we've ever done. It's been a very long time. It's cost a lot of money and there's a lot of theory in it, that is, yes, being proven on computer, but just, the idea of like, what can we do? And, it just takes a massive amount of support, not even, just from the guys here in the shop putting the car together, but of course from, partners like Valvoline who trust in me to have, a good idea come to life, because this has never been done before. So, you know, you want to make sure that you can pull through when people support you. And so, you know, like hats off to them for being on board with this project from day one.
If you want to ride in this car for yourself, click the link in the description below. It'll show you where this car is going to be at, a couple events around the country over the following year. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of B2B. Follow us on Instagram here at Donut Media. Follow me at Jeremiah Burton. Till next week, bye for now.